Hello everyone and welcome to another beer review here from the Czech Republic. Thank you very much for watching. Today I would like to speak about a non-alcoholic beer from the Birell brewery. Birell is part of the Pilsenski Prastroj, group of breweries. So with Pilsen, Urquell, Kozel, and so on. And this brewery basically exclusively brews non-alcoholic beers in any kind of shape. So they have a normal kind of pale non-alcoholic beer. They have a semi-dark non-alcoholic beer. They have a lot of these kind of fruity non-alcoholic drinks as well. So they have the kind of cherry, the mango, the lemon, and all of these things. And then they also have this one, which is Birell IPA style. So it doesn't say IPA, it says style or IPA style. So I'm very curious about how this compares to potentially an IPA or any other beer that is out there. Because you do get a lot of discussions, particularly on the social media groups, when it comes to non-alcoholic beer, because people are saying, well, there is no point of having a non-alcoholic beer. I might as well just drink water or tea or whatever the case may be, because non-alcoholic beer, it doesn't have any taste. It just kind of is watery, and you might as well just drink water instead of pretending that you have a beer. I'm not really sure I agree with that, because there can be plenty of reasons why you would have a non-alcoholic beer on any kind of given day. One of the reasons could be that for health issues, for example, or maybe you need to take a break from drinking regular beer for whatever reason, or maybe it is because you have to drive on that day. And I think when you have to drive, this is, potentially, of course, it depends on the non-alcoholic beer itself, how well it is made. But if you have to drive, but you still want to socialize, then non-alcoholic beer actually are a very good alternative, in my view, compared to, sitting in a pub with your friends and drinking lemonade or Coke, cola, or any other kind of soft drink the whole day or the whole evening. So you do get a chance to have at least somewhat of a beer taste while your friends are having actual beers. And for some people, like me, for example, I live very remote, in a small village, about, I don't know, 40, 50 kilometers away from, the very beginning of Prague, from the kind of the borders of Prague. So taking a taxi is not really an option unless I really want to fork out a lot of money for the ride. But then I also have to get there first, so I have to take a train. I have to first of all get to the train station, which means taking a bus or walking there, then taking a slow train that stops on at every village as well, and then obviously having to come back, and that will take first getting there a lot of time, and then a lot of money, taking a taxi to come back, because there just won't be any trains anymore by the time I would be going home. So, and I have done this a few times already. I went to Prague, I met some friends, or I went to other places in the Czech Republic and met some friends, and they were having normal beers, we were having a great conversation, and I was having non-alcoholic beer. But of course, again, it depends on how well the beer is done. I have had Bernard, for example, Bernard non-alcoholic beer, which I will also review later, which I do believe is very good. And it really, you can drink it the whole evening without kind of feeling that you're missing anything. And I've had Birell, the pale one as well, which I thought was also very good. So having that non-alcoholic option it is an advantage, and it doesn't mean you're pretending to drink something, or you should have maybe a coffee or whatever. I quite enjoy having the non-alcoholic options available. Now, of course, I mentioned this before. It depends on how well the non-alcoholic beer is done, and I think a lot of the arguments, as in terms of non-alcoholic beers and the quality of them, kind of derive from maybe when non-alcoholic beer wasn't brewed as much as it is now. I think the options available maybe 5, 10 years ago weren't as good as the ones that are available now, at least here in the Czech Republic. The kind of watery part, I think all of that, if I remember correctly, I tried a few times, a couple of years ago, and I just didn't enjoy them. There wasn't anything where I would say, well, I'm going to have a non-alcoholic beer. I probably would have opted for a Coke or a lemonade instead. But because now the quality has changed, there is a lot more non-alcoholic beers out there. A lot of breweries, well, here in the Czech Republic at least, they're now really starting to offer a non-alcoholic version of their beer. Some do very well, others can probably improve still a little bit, but overall the selection is getting bigger, and with the selection getting bigger, there is a good chance that a few of them will stand out in terms of quality as well. But let's give this guy a go today. I will be using my Kozel glass. It kind of makes sense because it's also part of the Pilsenski Prastor group. I used to have a Birell glass. I don't know where it is. Lost it somewhere or got broken, and I don't know. I can't remember. Anyway, let's try this. Now, overall, I really like the appearance of this. So, taking into consideration the kind of color, for example, and the foamy head as well, something that I would want in a kind of regular beer, and a beer that contains alcohol in a normal pale lager. This one has a very nice color. It's kind of dark golden color, like I would expect from a normal Svetli Ležák, from a normal pale lager, and a foamy head as well. It's not a thick foamy head, so it's not the kind of creamy foamy head, and it seems to be slowly disappearing as well. But overall, I really like the appearance of this, and from at least from an appearance point of view, right now I don't feel I am missing out on something, or I'm not having a beer at all. So at least the appearance is very nice, and I really like it. Now give the aroma a try. And it's very hoppy. There's a really hoppy aroma coming from this. Really, really nice. And it's not actually a fruity aroma like I would expect from a typical IPA. Because it says IPA style, I'm not sure. I need to kind of investigate why it's called IPA style, because right now I'm not getting that aroma yet. But it's a very strong hop aroma coming from this. So very nice. So let's give this a go. Na zdraví. Yeah. I have to say I really like this. I mean, again, given that this is a non-alcoholic beer, and sometimes when you set the expectations, what do you expect from a non-alcoholic beer? I mean, sometimes you would expect a little bit of beer taste, a little bit of hop, aroma, maybe, I don't know. People have different expectations. For me, it's not always clear what I can expect from a non-alcoholic beer. Particularly when I try it for the first time. But here I'm really, really pleasantly surprised by the hop aroma that I'm getting from this. And there is a little hint of hop bitterness as well. This is very nice. It doesn't strike me as an IPA, so I really need to find out why It's called IPA style. I mean, you can maybe see it here. Birell Stilo IPA, so that means IPA style, or in the style of an IPA. But I'm not getting that from it. But what I'm really getting is a very, very nice hop aroma. And it really stands out. I wouldn't want to talk about balance and so on because, again, it's a non-alcoholic beer. There isn't too much to kind of balance around. But it's a very, very nice hop aroma that I'm getting. And this one is really, that's what really stands out for me. And also when you smell it just, that aroma is really coming through. I think there is a light fruitiness touch to it, but it's just really, really tiny. So, when I compare this to a normal IPA, obviously with an IPA, I would want to get that, that fruity sensation, let's put it that way. Here, I'm not getting that. There is a tiny, tiny element, maybe. But what really stands out for me is really the hoppiness of this. And I think this is absolutely well done. Because in a beer, again, this is what I would be looking for. Now, with regards to non-alcoholic beers and, spending an evening with friends, socializing, and then having to drive, I can definitely see myself drinking this as an alternative to the regular beer because I have to drive. And I can see myself having a few of these during the evening and not missing anything. And I think this is really the important part. When we talk about non-alcoholic beers, I think, what is the purpose of these being around? And I think the purpose is so that we are able to have a beer, and still able to drive or to do whatever activity that we have to do or we want to do afterwards without missing the kind of beer flavors, without thinking or, having the feeling we are not actually having a beer. And I think this one really gives me that feeling. And I really have to say this is absolutely well done. Really something that I could consider an alternative, a serious alternative to having a beer when I can't have a regular beer for whatever reason. And for me, the main reason is having to drive afterwards, living as remotely as we do, where we have a bus every 2 hours. We have to kind of either take a bus to the train station or walk for 45 minutes across fields and whatever. So this really is a great alternative, and something that I would really, really recommend. So if you're ever in the Czech Republic and you find yourself not being able to drive, but you still want to have a beer, try to find this. It's Birell Stilo IPA or IPA style. Very nice. And as I said, Birell, they make a lot of other types of non-alcoholic beers, including the kind of mixed drinks, the kind of fruity ones, the cherry and orange and whatever flavors. But they also have this one. They have the semi-dark non-alcoholic beer as well as the pale non-alcoholic beer. But as I said, overall in the Czech Republic, we do see more and more breweries, creating their own non-alcoholic beer. So there's plenty of non-alcoholic beers to try from. I have gone through quite a few of them in recent months, because I had to. Well, first of all, my partner was pregnant at the end of last year, so at some point you don't feel comfortable having a beer anymore because maybe you just need to jump into the car and drive to the hospital. Also because when she's pregnant, it's not really fair when I have a beer and then she can't. But then there may be different reasons as well. And I have been trying a lot of them in recent months. I will be reviewing more non-alcoholic beers in the hope that maybe there's one for you that that you would enjoy as well. And whenever you come to the Czech Republic, maybe pick one of these up and give them a go yourself. If you have tried this before, let me know in the comments what you thought. If you will try this in the future, let me know afterwards, please, as well. I would be really curious to read your opinions about Birell. And subscribe to my channel for more beer reviews, non-alcoholic as well as alcoholic, of course. And thank you very much for watching. I hope I will see you next time. Bye bye.